We got quite a lot of new Assassin's Creed Valhalla news ahead of the upcoming Ubisoft Forward September event. So in this video I want to run down some things that Ubisoft shared recently, including bits of new footage, and also talk more about things that I learned, including that an ability could also unlock a weapon. So a lot to talk about. A like on the video would really help the channel out. And let's go. But first up, the sponsor of this video, Surfshark, my go-to VPN that helps me with online safety so no one can see your passwords, private messages, and a lot of other sensitive data. You will also get real-time alerts when your emails or passwords are at risk of being hacked. And you can also use the VPN to watch things that aren't available in your region. Like on Netflix in the US, you cannot watch the Studio Ghibli movies, but if you just use a VPN and then go to the Netherlands, for example, where I live, you will see all those movies when you just search for it in the search bar. And there are many examples of things that will now work if you just pretend you are browsing from somewhere else by using a VPN. Surfshark works on all your devices, and I mostly use the Google Chrome extension that is easily accessible. And they have this huge deal going on right now, but it will only last for a very short time. They will change it very soon, so you gotta be quick if you want the 85% off and 3 extra months for free. So totally click the special link in the video description to still benefit from this deal, and thanks again to Surfshark for sponsoring the video. Now let's get back into it. We already saw quite a lot of things that we can expect in Assassin's Creed Valhalla in the recent Ubisoft 4 demo, but some things were not accessible yet, like a dice mini game. I could go there, see the table, but again it wasn't playable. Well, now the official Assassin's Creed account on Instagram shared some first ever footage of this as recorded by Access the Animus, and I will link to them in the video description. Here we see that Eivor can play against the locals, and then you both throw the dices. Not sure if there's like any tactic involved as well. Well, in this case the locals won big time, and I'm sure that you will then lose some silver. With the flighting minigame, so the Viking rap battles, you could also place a bet at the start and then got 50 silver extra when you won. At least that was the case when you took the medium bet. So maybe this dice minigame will be similar. Just awesome that there will be small minigames like this in the world to make it feel more alive. And the Assassin's Creed UK Twitter account now also shared a video about the world, about England. And this gives us a cool idea of the different nature we can expect, with some lovely flowers, some wildlife, just like villages that we haven't really seen yet, or enormous fortresses. This in a way looks like an announcement trailer for the Discovery Tour mode in Valhalla, but we of course don't know yet if that is coming, although I would not be surprised if it was. But we of course know that we start the game in the snowy Norway, and well, we can likely pet a dog there, or at least find one following us around, as we see in the short video that was also published by Ubisoft. Looking very cute indeed, I love the blue eyes. And we also got 2 new screenshots, one of the snowy part with our longship, the Drakkar, and another new screenshot showcases the city of Lincoln, that according to narrative director Darby was, just like the territory, the first area they built and the first long-form story they wrote for Valhalla beginning 2 years ago. I have a special place in my heart reserved for the characters here. Can't wait for you to meet them. And this region is power level 130, so it's a little later than the East Anglia part we already had, which had power level 55. There's a legendary lion in this area that we can fight as one of the creatures, and I think that this is the drawing of the city. And by the way, also something new I learned thanks to game director Benoit, who reached out to me because of a recent video, is regarding the power level system. So to refresh your memory, how it works is that every time you spend a skill point, you increase your power by 1. But that is of course different than what we saw in the previous games that had a more regular character leveling system, where also enemies had a level associated with them and could also be 5 levels higher than you, so then you just saw them as a skull enemy and basically could not kill them. And that was the main reason why the Horde mode in Assassin's Creed Origins really sucked. And if you followed the channel for a while or played the game a lot, then you likely remember, right, that the idea was really cool, fighting waves of enemies in an arena that would change over time with different traps. But the enemies would increase in level after a few waves, so that at one point they would hit a skull level and then you simply could not kill them anymore, so you would die in the same round every time. In Valhalla, this should not be the case. According to Benoit, it was a direction from the beginning that as a low power level character, you can still be creative and find a way to take out high level targets. So basically meaning that the moment we reach England, we should be able to go to Hamptonshire, and I hope I pronounced that right, that has a suggested power level 340, and be successful if we play it smart, although again it will be very challenging. I think one way to do this is using the one-hit KO assassination skill that will trigger when assassinating targets who can be killed with a regular hit, but also works on huge bosses. It will likely be hard to get the timing right though, but it should be possible. And another smart tactic could be using the Kick of Tear or other ways to push enemies off ledges. And in Valhalla they will still take damage when falling into the water, so that is something you could totally use to your advantage. And we actually already touched on this subject in the weekly Assassin's Creed Valhalla podcast with Jordan from It's Jordan Does, that you can listen to on every podcast service, and I will leave a download link in the video description as well for if you want to check it out. But yeah, I really hope that this means that we can maybe find weapons hidden in a camp in a very high power level region that we can then already try and get, although it will be very hard to pull off. But if you do, you already have a very powerful weapon that you would normally get near the end of the game. Like, that would be really awesome. I'm not sure if that's possible, but totally expect some content or streams where I try to infiltrate a high power level region with a low power level character. And by the way, speaking of weapons, I talked about the Viking harpoon a couple of times, and that is linked to an ability. Well, now I learned, thanks once again to my interview with the lead system designer, that the moment you unlock this ability, you actually also unlock this harpoon as a tool you can use. And I will let him explain what it actually does.
After, there's some sort of tools that you can have in your that are, let's say, unlocked by an ability. So,
cool.
For example, you have an harpoon that allows you, to attach enemies and manipulate him around, like throw him toward other enemies or toward walls or ledges and stuff like that. So yeah, some abilities come with their own weapon, let's say.
So sounds awesome, right? And I really hope we get gameplay of this soon. Like, when we know more about that upcoming Ubisoft Forward event, I will let you know here. Stay tuned. Subscribe for way more on Assassin's Creed Valhalla and other upcoming Ubisoft games, of course. A like on the video would really help the channel out. And check out my previous Valhalla video on legacy content. There's no arena in the game, we know why, and way more. For now, I will speak to you next time, and goodbye.